So what I'm doing is reeling the spindle, which just bounced, onto a bobbin so I can ply it up. That's the yarn on the spindle, which, there's how fine it is. But as you can see, it'll twist up on itself, which doesn't make for a stable bit of knitting or crochet. So we'll ply it up, and there's going to be 3 ply. It'll be a heavy lace weight. I've got the bobbin driven directly from the wheel with no brake, which means that I can only control the speed and therefore the tension by how quickly I treadle. And since this was a variegated colorway yarn, you will see the color changing as it reels onto the bobbin. When it plies up, it'll be a different blending because, of course, it won't exactly match one bit of color to the next. I could do this all by plying directly from the bobbins, but that would require more, or directly from the spindles, but that would require more spindles than I've got, and isn't as even as reeling this back and forth onto the bobbin, because on the bobbin I can make it an even, steady progression, and on the spindle you see it's all in one place and it goes up and down, and that doesn't pull as evenly, and if it gets tangled, and earlier I had some tangle on the bobbin, it will break, and I can fix that by twisting up a weld as I reel on, but it's harder to do that when you're trying to avoid the plying happening too early. When I'm spinning on the wheel, I do the same thing. I spin onto a bobbin, and then I reel the bobbin off onto an empty bobbin to get the same even lay for my plying. It's easier on the yarns, which makes me happier and gives a better finished product. Lets you look for any weak spots, any places that were just really nasty, where you slubbed something really hideous into it there. I just had some yarn fail, not fail, but right there. See, that's tangled, and that can break when you're plying. Also, plying from bobbins requires having something that will let you pull the yarn way up over it and down again. Since I've got a wheel, I might as well use it. That pretty much sums up all the bits of interesting. I'm almost done spinning this out. So if you want to watch to the end, well, you can see this the spindle come up empty as I finish the last bits of this. I have it in a straw so that it spins more easily. I can do that, and did earlier, by tucking it into a bobbin, because the axle hole of the bobbin will let me, oh, there, see, I got a break. And that's probably Not really worth welding up, but we'll try it. Welding up here is a nuisance. What's going to happen is I'm going to twist this up and lay some in there. And I twist it up and I make the single right there a little fat. And then I lay it down so that tension holds it in. And when I go to ply it, that will probably do what it did just there and separate, but I can weld it into the plying structure, which will lock up pretty firmly and just give a slightly thicker bit of yarn right there. And I just dropped the spindle because, well, I only have 2 hands. Let's get that around. Now we'll reach down, pick this up, put some tension on it, and get back to reeling. Make that a little more visible. See, I really didn't want to give up. It was probably 10 or 20 yards of yarn, which means, 10 or 20 yards of finished yarn for the person who's going to have it to play with. And that is a finished spindle. And if we compare that spindle to this spindle, this is a lot lumpier because it hasn't been reeled yet. So I'll do that with it in a bit when I have enough yarn on more than one bobbin to make it worth messing with. So there you go, reeling from spindle to bobbin on preparatory to plying.